Welcome back to another Amundson family podcast or music YouTube video.
Well, okay, lately we call it a podcast, but
Right.
lately we've just been putting it on YouTube just because I've been slack in renewing our podcast subscription.
Right, you gotta pay monthly for that, don't you?
Yeah, and I've been trying to decide, I mean, we don't have a lot of listeners on podcast. Our very first podcast, it was pretty good. But then once we started putting them on YouTube, our listeners went down and our viewers on YouTube went up, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
We need the hours, but at the same time, we were kind of wanting it as a podcast.
Can you imagine that people actually want to look at us other than just hear us? I can't imagine that. Like what?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Oh wait, I'm not supposed to laugh, am I? We got some input from our sound guy.
Yeah, Night Fox Animation is doing our sound now, and we were given good advice not to laugh.
Not to laugh, I guess it spikes.
And not to try and talk over each other. I did it.
Right, and not to spike the sound.
And what else did he say? No heavy breathing. Right.
I think we just did all three in our video.
Okay, so
sorry, Gabe.
We'll get it over with. He'll edit that somehow. Maybe. But anyways, we're thankful for Gabe taking over this end of it. It really relieves a lot of the technical part of it for us. And he loves to do it. Hey, and if you get a chance, in fact, you can listen to this later. Go to Night Fox Animation on YouTube. We'll put the link on and take a look at some of his videos.
He does some great stuff. It's crazy.
I know I don't understand how it works, but
Like I see his stuff, I'm like, what? He did that?
yeah.
It's crazy.
And so anyways, he's trying to build up his followers on YouTube as well. So go give him a subscribe.
A like and a follow.
Yeah. Hey, we got to 7,000 Facebook followers yesterday.
Did we really?
On Facebook, yeah.
7's a lucky number.
Well, see, we're trying to get to 10,000.
Right.
That is the lucky number for us, because then we can monetize. Because right now we're not making any money off.
So 3,000 more people. Come on, guys, we got this.
Yeah, we've been getting about 1,000 per month, but in the last few months.
Right.
But it would be nice to get it a little bit faster. I was hoping to get to 10,000 before haying started. Because it does take time
Yeah.
to push Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
It does take time.
Hang season gets busy. Busy.
Yeah. I mean, unless it rains, but it seems like there's always something to do. Either you're maintaining equipment or you're right out haying. So
Yeah, hang season is different than up north, right? Like here it starts super early and lasts longer because there's 2 seasons, right?
yeah. Well, another reason for those of you that are familiar with haying, it's different here in another way. It's so warm and hot down here.
Right.
Here we can cut one day, and the very next morning we can rake and bale it. Where up north we had to wait several days.
Really?
And so it's just one day after another, you're cutting, baling.
So no break.
And we do custom haying, and everyone of course wants their hay done on the nice weather. And so you just go until it rains. And
But then when it does rain, it dries up pretty quickly, right?
yeah, well, when we're getting, I'll talk Celsius, when we're getting 30, 35, 40 degree weather, yeah, it's gonna dry.
Yeah, well, I don't understand Fahrenheit, so please talk Celsius.
Okay. Well, haying has changed a lot since when I was little. So when I was young, we used what was called a sickle mower, pulled by the little tractor, and it had these little knives that went back and forth.
Ooh.
And so we had to cut the hay with that, and then after it dried, we went and we raked it and then baled it. I have a story.
Okay.
When my grandpa, your great grandpa, Omund, he used to live with us for a little while. He started to get Alzheimer's and just needed someone, and his grandma had died. So the one summer he was living at our house, he would come out and he would want to help me cut hay.
Oh.
So I was pulling the sickle mower.
Right.
And in the particular field where we were at, there was this kind of grass that the mower would get plugged up quite often.
Okay.
And I'd have to get off and pull this really fine grass. I forget what it was called. Excuse me. But he had this idea that he would stop, or he would walk behind me, and whenever it would plug, well, he would reach down and unplug it.
Oh no.
Yeah, but here the mower is going.
Right.
And he was wanting to.
Oh no.
And I'm thinking, he's my grandpa. How am I going to tell him, no, you can't do that?
Oh no.
So it was an awkward situation but I ended up having to, talk to him about it. So
Man, that's tough.
It was tough. I have lots of stories about Grandpa living with us during those years. It was some good times. We never once, during the years that he was living with us, we never had to cut firewood. Because every day he was out with his Swede saw. You know what a Swede saw is?
Yeah, it's the back and forth one.
Yeah. And he would cut firewood. He'd clean out all our bushes of dead wood, and he would stack them. And then Uncle Stan and I would go and get it from out of the bush. But we never had to cut any while he was there.
So he was pretty active then.
He was active right up to the end. His mind was the problem.
Right.
Which
that's amazing.
Yeah, he was in good shape that way.
Yeah.
But he was raised working hard. And did you see the Facebook post that I put on today?
No. I feel bad.
Well, you've been busy and you've been sore.
Yeah, I've been, I don't know what's going on. Maybe if there's any dentists listening. I'm getting a phone call. If there's any dentists listening, my cheekbones and my jaw have just been dull, achy.
Could you have gotten punched at work or kicked?
It's very likely. Yes. But I thought I'd remember that. You'd think, right? I almost got punched a little while ago.
The story in the episode number 10, we ended up leaving it in.
Oh, the one about the bathtub?
The bathtub lady.
Oh, no.
So we just couldn't, Night Fox Animation and I couldn't figure out a good way to take it out.
Really?
So we just left it in, and I think it was okay. I hope you didn't mind that. But I did warn them, just like you did.
Yeah, no more gruesome stories from now on. Unless that's what you guys want. I mean, comment if you like that kind of stuff. Or, like we said, maybe I should start my own.
Oh, boy, you'd rival Joe Rogan if you had stories like that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to this Facebook post. I had a picture of my grandpa with his brothers and sisters and mom and dad when they were still in Norway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I talked about how they moved to Canada when he was 10 years old. And so if you want to read the story, go to Facebook and read the little write-up and see the pictures about that. And so anyways, they ended up moving from Klepp, Norway to Weldon, Saskatchewan. And then from there, when Grandpa was older, him and some of his brothers moved up to Park Valley. And so Grandpa was newly married. He had a new wife, Inga. And I can't remember. No, I think they had all the kids there in Park Valley. So I have a story.
Now, how many kids was that? 11?
In Omen and Inga's family.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking of
in Tunis and Justina's?
I'm thinking of that.
There were 10, 11 at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many in Grandpa Omen's family?
Yeah. Oh, there was 8.
8
in his family.
See, that blows my mind. Like, how many kids? Nowadays, it's like, oh, I got 1 or 2, and that's enough.
Yeah.
But anyways, go on.
So it was interesting. So here they were, newly married, and they were moving to Western Canada, and they'd heard about the natives, and they probably read stories or heard stories about cowboys and Indians.
Right.
And so Grandma, especially, was a little wary about moving to Park Valley, which was still mostly forest.
Right.
And not a whole lot of white people. And so she was a little scared about being alone while Grandpa was away working or whatever. Well, one day she was out on the trail picking berries, and she saw someone walking down the road, down the trail, a little ways away, and she recognized it to be a Native American.
Right.
Well, she got a little scared, and she ran into the bush and tried to cross the fence to get into the house, to where the house was, and she got caught in the fence.
Oh, no.
And so this man comes, and she was so scared, but he comes and he helps her and lets her go, and she was never worried again.
Really?
About the natives.
That's honestly so sweet. I've never heard that story before.
Yeah. So lots of great stories from back in the day when the settlers were moving into the area. Mm-hmm. In fact, that's the song I'm going to sing.
Okay.
It's a song. I was talking to my dad, this was a few years ago, about how things might have been when the first white settlers came. And so he gave me some idea about what it looked like and the stories that he'd heard. Well, anyways, I went back home and I wrote a song called Little Valley Home. I'll see if I can remember the words.
Okay.
Well, there was nothing more than survey lines cutting through the land, just miles of slough and forest, from what I understand. But one by one, the families came with everything they owned and carved themselves a living from a little valley home. The early years weren't easy, but they just did survive. They often found the Lord would keep the worst of times outside. When someone got down on their luck, couldn't make it on their own, helping was just what they did in her little valley home. Well, things, they aren't that different to how they were back then. We still make a living just any way we can. We still praise the Lord together for the blessings He has shown to those of us all living in our little valley home. A graded road now passes through, the fields are open wide. The walk to school was traded off for a long old school bus ride. The pace goes rather quickly, and we rarely are alone. Still the neighbors are what really make our little valley home. Well, things, they aren't that different to how they were back then. We still make our living just any way we can. We still praise the Lord together for the blessings He has shown to those of us all living in our little valley home. To those of us all living in our little valley home.
Nice. No, it's weird because we grew up, as you said, the song, like even in my generation, we grew up with, we still make a living any way we can. Mm-hmm. And, that was true. You did what you could.
For us, it was,
and especially living out in the boonies, mm-hmm. You had to do everything you could. Moving here, everything got, like, flipped upside down, where I see, maybe this is totally out of context, but, seeing so many people who don't do anything to make a living, they don't care. It's crazy. So, they accept that whatever, and they just don't do anything to make a living. So it really makes me thankful for the way that we grew up and how we were taught, do everything you can, make a living any way you can. And yeah, it really makes me thankful. And, all those, like you said, the stories before, like I think our ancestors were able to, because of what they did, it passed on for generation and generation. And, I'm sure my kids are going to learn the same thing, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, waiting for handouts just wasn't something that we, I guess, even thought about We just did whatever. We farmed, we raised cattle, we trapped, we gardened, we taught music, we played music. We did whatever we had to do to either save money or make money. As long as we were together, that's really all that mattered.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's funny. Just last episode, we talked about the long bus ride to school.
Oh, right.
So back in the day when my dad was going to school, they had to walk 2 miles at least
Crazy.
one way to get to school every day.
One way?
One way.
Wow.
So 2 miles. So they generally walked. Some people skied, some people rode a horse, but
Fun.
But when the school closed down, then the people had to ride the bus for an hour or an hour and a half.
I'd much rather walk.
The walking must have been great.
Yeah.
At least on okay days.
Yeah, now on the -40 weather, maybe not so much.
They probably just stayed home, I'm guessing.
Probably. But you know what? Back then, it wasn't a big deal to miss a day of school. Not like here, everybody goes crazy. But, you know, if you missed a day of school, you helped with chores or you maybe helped your mom make butter or something.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Oh, they were good, innocent days. But a lot of changes, though. But like the song says, everyone in that area, and you know, this area is pretty similar, I find, with the farmers around.
Except for the city.
Yeah.
Minus the city.
Yeah, like people are still out to help each other. And you know.
Yeah.
And that's how it is back home still. If someone needs help, it's interesting to think about. You know, I said in the song that if someone needed help, the neighbors were there to help them. Well, it wasn't so many years later when we needed help from our neighbors.
Oh, we needed it.
When our house burnt down.
Yeah.
And they came through.
And boy, did we get help. We got way more help than we ever needed. But, you know, it really, things like that bring the community together. Like, I never knew, you know, it's really cool to experience something like that. Like, I remember when we first heard, like, who was it, Auntie Mel? I don't even think she thought twice. She was like, okay, I'm headed to BA to get toothbrushes and
whatever
underwear.
Things that we wouldn't have ever thought of.
She, like, didn't think twice. She was just like, okay, I'm on my way. And, you know, before the day was over, Grandpa's house was full of backpacks and tubs and bags of clothes and stuff and anything you can imagine. Everybody raided their houses and they're like, what could we give, you know? And food and everything.
I mean, there are definitely certain things that we can't replace from the fire, but we came out with more than we ever had before.
For sure. More than for sure. And probably some of the stuff was like, wow, these are nice, you know? It was really nice.
Well, it just goes to show that people are really generous when they need to be, and it was a blessing.
It was, thankful for community, for sure.
Yeah, that's our little valley home. Yep. Well, I hope you get feeling better.
I hope so too. I have a dentist appointment on Monday.
Okay, so they'll make sure it's not your wisdom teeth coming in or something like that.
I don't know what it is, but my face just hurts.
Oh.
And I took some medicine a couple days yesterday for it because I was working and I was like, I can't work with this going on. But I'm trying to bear with it today.
Okay.
I'll keep you guys updated.
All right. Well, again, I'm going to remind you, find us on our website. Look up AmundsonFamilyMusic.com, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and subscribe to Night Fox Animation, and give Gabe a thumbs up, and whatever else you do. And once we do get these on like Spotify and Apple Music again, have a listen to those while you're going to work or
for sure.
on your walk.
Yeah. Get out there and get some exercise. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, good idea. And if you have, any ideas about what you'd like to hear, you know, we may not listen to it, but we may. Yeah.
Hey, but I do have one joke.
Okay.
Talking about like farming and homesteading.
Oh, okay.
I just looked up farm jokes. This is pretty dumb, but as a farmer, I hear lots of jokes about sheep. I tell them to my dog, but he heard them all. Okay, bye. That was bad.
Bye.